You're welcome. You're watching NFL Daily Live. We welcome you in. Presented today by LinkedIn Talent Solutions. If you're hiring for your small business, you should use the platform that small businesses recommend the most. That is LinkedIn Jobs. Post yours for free at linkedin.com/NFL Daily. We'll tell you more about them later on in today's show. We're live right now on YouTube, on Rumble. I am Tom Downey, producer Jack behind the scenes once again. Our pin poll right now on the YouTube side. What will the 49ers end up doing with Jimmy Garoppolo? T for trade, K for keep, or C for cut? Let me know in the comment section. 60% right now say they will find a trade, which I am not sure is going to happen since we've got about a week to go, give or take. Remember, Jimmy G's massive base salary becomes guaranteed if he's on a team for week one. That is a potential issue there. I see RJ says T. The NFL Kid says T. Latuya67 says T. Michael says K. Not very many C's for cuts coming in the live chat right now. It's now down to 56% say T for trade. 18% say they end up keeping him. And 26% say they will end up cutting him. So sound off for me in the comments section. T, K, or C. Chua says cut. I think that's a decent outcome, that they end up just cutting him altogether and they cannot find a trade partner, which, make no mistake, would be a pretty big disappointment from that perspective as things sit for the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know what does Mike mean? Got to talk to me. Okay. Yeah. It's just going to keep falling down, so just adjusted the mic volume there. There's nothing I can do. Random S Storm says F for fail, I guess. Filet? I don't know what that means there. Rashard Lee says T. Michael says nobody wants Jimmy G. I don't know it's that nobody wants Jimmy G. It's that nobody wants his contract. If Jimmy G were $2 million a year, they would have traded him a while ago. He's not $2 million. He's $24 million. That's a pretty big difference there. We'll check in on this at the end of today's show and during rumors as well. What will the Niners do with Jimmy G? T, K, or C? Speaking of trades, we're going to go through on After Hours exclusively on Rumble, where we're also live right now. We're going to go through some, or at least a trade candidate for each NFL team. So name a player who you think ends up getting traded. Drop a name for me in the comment section. Jimmy G's certainly a valid one, although I don't know if it ends up going down when it's all said and done. But name a player who you think ends up getting traded. Sound off in the comment section. I've got one from each team later on, plus during our rumors segment, we'll break down some trade rumors on Mike Gesicki, Isaiah Wynn, and Ugo Amadi once again getting traded for the second time in like 10 days. Just kind of wild from that standpoint there. Rashard Lee's trolling. He says Dak. Of course, Dak's not going anywhere. That trade's certainly not going to happen. NFL Kid says Sam Darnold. I did not put him, spoiler alert, on the Panthers version. I thought about it, though. But if nobody wants Jimmy Garoppolo, then nobody wants Sam Darnold at all. Carolina could eat all of the money, I guess, if they want to. At that point, you just keep him. But there's nobody trading for Sam Darnold, not with the way he's played and his contract at the current moment. Cleveland Furl is in there from Jack Bishop. What up, Jack? Desmond King from Evan Hinders. Not a bad name. King has never been as valued highly by others, or the NFL, as I think media and fans have. He's on Texans right now. Isaiah Wynn from Latuya. That makes sense. Blake Dre says Taylor Heineke. I don't think that'll happen, but it's not the worst name on this list. Now we just got trolling with Tom Brady and Derek Carr and Michael Pittman. None of those guys are getting dealt. We'll break down the current worst quarterback situation in the NFL. That is between Drew Lock and Geno Smith. I will call them the Tank Commanders moving forward this year. So of these two, you have to pick one, by the way. Who would it be? Type in DL for Drew Lock or type in GS for Geno Smith. You have to pick one of those two QBs to be your starter for the entire year. Who is it? And there isn't really a right answer, by the way, because they're both not very good. I see mostly Drew Lock's in there, but the NFL kids spamming in Geno. Jordan says Geno. Lock's coming in from Michael and, let's see, Rashard Lee and RJ. And Vlad the Impaler's in the chat. Somehow he's still alive. Bob Smith says Drew Lock. Board Skyler says Geno is poopy, which not like Locks any better if we're being honest there. It's mostly Drew Locks, but not by a lot. Better Nate than Lever. Yeah, it is Lever. That's weird. He says DK Metcalf play quarterback. Don't know if that one would really work out quite the way you're hoping for there. Keep the votes coming. DL for Drew Lock or GS for Geno Smith. I'll also have you guys pick a quarterback when we get to our mock draft coming up again. College football week 0 at long last, just around the corner. So pick a QB for me. BY for Bryce Young or CJ for CJ Stroud. These two will be linked all year long from who's going to be the top quarterback taken. Could one be the number 1 overall pick? Though there are some great defenders this year. Who will win the Heisman Trophy? Who will lead their team to a national championship? Those two are going to be tied for the rest of their college careers and well into their NFL careers. Both have talents and both have some flaws, by the way. There is no perfect quarterback prospect after all. But pick one for me. BY or CJ. I've got Vlad the Impaler, Chulor, Latuya, Richard, all typing in their CJ. So is RJ, Vince, and Jim. Bob Smith says CJ. Michael says Bryce Young to Seattle in particular, by the way. RJ spamming his CJ in there. Michael says BY. The kid says neither. I'm picking the guy who plays for NC Central. Do you mean Coastal Carolina? And he's a quarterback draft prospect. Not in love with him, but it's a different option there. We'll allow you to cheat, I guess. Jordan says CJ. King Seahawk says CJ as well. And I see pretty even splits in the end between CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. And I think that'll be the case for quite a while. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Now, football is well and truly back at long last. College football, games that actually matter, they're back this weekend. The NFL's been back with preseason matchups, which, hey, at least it's football out there. If you are excited that the NFL finally at long last is back, show it by liking this video right now. And only 30 likes, pretty disappointing number in there. Get that changed. Like the video if you haven't already, I promise you. And in the meantime, while you like it, here's what's coming up on today's live version of NFL Daily. News and rumors. We'll break down the trade news and the trade rumors going on there right now across the NFL. Not one, but 2 mailbags, and there are 2 ways to get on that mailbag. Number 1, use hashtag NFL in the comment section. Or Super Chat. Jack Bishop, I see your Super Chat. Thank you, my friend. We will get to that during the mailbag. So stick around, Jack. I promise you we'll answer your question. Big thank you for the Super Chat. We'll then break down my 2023 NFL mock draft and on NFL Daily After Hours exclusively on Rumble. NFL trade candidates, 1 for each NFL team. That's all coming up live right here on NFL Daily. Today's NFL Daily is presented by LinkedIn Talent Solutions. They're here to make your job easier when it comes to finding the right person for the position you're trying to hire. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/NFL Daily. Here's a bit of a tease of what's coming up on today's show. The latest on Jimmy Garoppolo, if Isaiah Wynn could be traded, Mike Gesicki suddenly on the trade block. We'll also break down the Seahawks quarterback battle. But there was another NFL trade that happened moments before we got live today. Ugo Amadi has been traded, and if you think you're in Groundhog Day, you're not. But this is the second time in the last 2 days that Ugo Amadi has been traded, as the Eagles get a 6th-round pick after trading him straight up for J.J. Arcega-Whiteside in a deal with Seattle. Titans then get Ugo Amadi and a 7th-round pick in 2024. So 2 future late-round picks involved, plus Ugo Amadi. He's had a pretty whirlwind 10 days. He goes from the West Coast in Seattle out to Philadelphia, East Coast, traded on August 15th. He stays there until today, August 24th, and now he's going to Tennessee as a member of the Titans. So ending one of the most illustrious eras in Philadelphia Eagles history, the Ugo Amadi era. So graded for me. How did it go? It was an incredible run, no doubt about it. A, B, C, D, or F in the comment section. I hope people realize I'm kidding. Who knows, though? Let's move then to Jimmy Garoppolo, the veteran quarterback who's still kind of hanging out there in the wind. Brett Favre says he should be the starter. The Niners have been like, no, he's not going to be. But his future remains a complete unknown. He has a $24.2 million base salary that becomes guaranteed if he's on the roster for week 1. NFL Cutdown Day, the main 53-man version, is coming on August 30th. The trade market's been deathly quiet. So we are a weekish away from, you got to make a decision, and we don't have one at this point. Kyle Shanahan asked, hey, what are you going to do on Cutdown Day with him? He said, I don't know what I'll do that day. We'll probably decide when it comes. I think any scenario is possible. That would leave open he's just back at his current contract. We trade him, we cut him and then re-sign him. He takes a pay cut. All those options then would be on the table if you believe Kyle Shanahan. There's a very different report, though, from Peter King, who says that Garoppolo does not have the Niners playbook and he's not involved in any of the team meetings at quarterback. So that is not the mark of somebody who's close to being a part of this team. Right now, I'll make note, I don't think last year's playbook and this year's playbook is that different. I think it'd be fairly similar overall, but Trey Lance, the offense will be different. There will be a lot more read option looks than there ever were with Jimmy Garoppolo. So the pinned poll of the day, the pinned comment, what will the 49ers do with Jimmy G? We'll give you 3 options here. T for trade, K for keep, C for cut. This question is the pinned comment on today's video. If an ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. If Jimmy G is cut or traded, some teams I think to keep an eye out for. Obviously, Seattle has a disastrous quarterback room at the current moment. Drew Lock and Geno Smith, more on them at the end of today's video. The Giants, it's Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor. Houston had been linked kind of speculatively, occasionally to Jimmy G. I do wonder if that was the Niners trying to drum up interest because I think just to give Davis Mills a chance, right? The Browns, without Deshaun Watson for over half the year, Jacoby Brissett's not that great. Could Jimmy G make sense? There's also the unknown of the fifth door. Just wait for an injury. What if, God forbid, Matthew Stafford's, elbow injury gets worse or is more severe than they've let on? If Jimmy G is cut, the Rams would love to sign him if Stafford misses time. That's hypothetical. There are a lot of teams out there that if you lose their starting quarterback, they're in trouble. And although Jimmy G has not been perfect, he's been at least the best backup in the NFL, right? The issue is that he's expensive. Certain teams are going to rather tank than just sign a goodish veteran who's not enough to win a title. I think we know that by now, but not bad enough to lose you a bunch of games as long as he's healthy. So make your predictions for me. Where will Jimmy Garoppolo play in 2022? Sound off for me in the comments section. We mentioned earlier, today's show is presented by LinkedIn Talent Solutions. Our most recent hire here at Chat Sports, found through LinkedIn. As you gear up for fall, you need the right people on your team to help your small business fire on all cylinders. LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then add your job in the purple hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. And did you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/NFL Daily. That's linkedin.com/NFL Daily to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. That link, by the way, if you haven't heard it, I'll say it one more time for you. LinkedIn.com/NFL Daily. It is in the comments section and the description of today's show just to make it a little bit easier for you to post your job. Let's go to some more trade rumors. Isaiah Wynn, the Patriots offensive tackle. I am a bit surprised he's in the conversation here, but that is where we are at. Albert Breer says the Patriots are talking about an Isaiah Wynn trade. There are injury issues here. He's been banged up. Fifth-year option costs $10.41 million. That's a bit of a problem. That's a lot of money to pay. It's all a very interesting situation. Here's what Breer wrote. The one guy I know that definitively that they talked with on other teams is Isaiah Wynn. Wynn, though, is on a $10.4 million fifth-year option, which has made it tough to move a guy who 4 years after he was drafted is still seen as a tackle guard tweener. Wynn played really well last year. He didn't play every single snap. He did miss a couple there. Injuries have been a bigger problem in previous years. He's built like a guard, but has played tackle for the Patriots. Now, if he was the right tackle with Trent Brown back on the left side, it just gets weird. I know there are teams who are in desperate need of offensive line help. We know that. That's the case every single year. But do they want to pay $10.4 million for Isaiah Wynn when they could hypothetically sign Eric Fisher for roughly half that? Plus, if you're the Patriots, you trust Durant and Cajuste as your other. It's Yadni Cajuste and Yasir Durant as your other offensive lineman at tackle? I'm not sure you should. Then again, I don't know what the Patriots are really doing at this point. So name a player who you think ends up getting traded in the comments section. Maybe it's Isaiah Wynn. Maybe it's not. Another name coming up here in a minute. But first, I want to hear from you guys in the comments section. Let's go to Mike Gesicki. As PFF reports, this is their reporter, not their grades or stats or whatever, that the Dolphins have discussed. They've even brought up to other teams some potential Mike Gesicki trade conversation. Now, the issue here is that he costs $10.93 million on the franchise tag in 2022. And that's a lot of money with zero flexibility because it is a franchise tag. I think the alleged reason why Miami's like, I don't know about that one, is they've played a lot in the preseason, and they don't think he's a good blocker, which is true, but they also knew that when they had him last year. Like, every film anyone's ever watched, he's basically a slot receiver. Think like Jimmy Graham style, just a big slot, not an actual inline blocker. Durham Smythe, Hunter Long, those guys can handle your inline blocking. So could Shaheen before he was traded, then that failed and ended up going on IR. I do not think, when it's all said and done, that Gesicki ends up getting dealt. He's tied for 8th among the highest paid tight ends. Here are the other 8, by the way. Of course, Gesicki and Schultz both on the franchise tag this year. I would be very surprised in the event that the Dolphins traded him away. I know he's not a great inline blocker, but you knew that. I don't think anyone wants that contract. I think Gesicki's going to stay, at least for the time being. And you know what? I know he's no Kittle as a blocker. It's fine. Can make him a part-time player since you're already stuck with that contract, and then find a way to go from there. Next year, maybe he's not there anymore. Make your predictions for me. Will the Dolphins trade Mike Gesicki? Y for yes, N for no. Make your predictions for me in the comments section. While you're down in that comments section, smash that sub button for me as well. Make sure those noties are turned on so you don't miss any video we do right here at Chat Sports multiple times per day. NFL, NBA, and college football coverage. That's why it's Chat Sports, because we cover the sports for you right here. Let's jump to the quarterback battle, which maybe some people don't want to do as things sit currently. Geno Smith is going to be the third and final start of the preseason against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Drew Lock was supposed to start week 2 in the preseason, but he missed that game due to COVID-19. There were thoughts, questions, theories that, hey, maybe Geno Smith would not start week 3. Well, he's starting again, and I think a pretty clear sign that Geno Smith is the favorite and likely week 1 starter, at least, for Seattle. I call these two quarterbacks the Tank Commanders. They're not good. Denver fans talked to me for years. Drew Lock's good. Give him a chance. And then they traded for Russell Wilson. Now it's like, he was never good. Yeah, because he wasn't, right? Now, maybe that changes. I don't think it's going to end up happening there in the end. But pick a quarterback for me. Drew Lock or Geno Smith. Sound off in the comments section. DL for Drew Lock or GS for Geno Smith. Here's what Pete Carroll had to say. I know it's not supposed to be a good situation. When you have two quarterbacks, it means you don't have one, as the old saying goes. I don't know. We might have 2 1s. We'll see what happens. I'm going to let you in on a secret here, Pete Carroll. You do not have 2 number 1 quarterbacks. No, you don't. You don't have a single number 1 quarterback when it's Geno Smith and Drew Lock. That's just not the reality. Their numbers for their careers have not been good. Drew Lock is a sub 60% completion guy, 25 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. Geno Smith is just as bad. That's just the reality of the situation. Now, maybe Drew Lock, who is going to, quote, play a lot in the final preseason game, maybe he makes a big-time splash and earns that job. But Seattle starting Geno Smith in week through the preseason, pretty clear sign, I think, that Geno's going to be the guy at least for week 1. No wrong answers here, but how many preseason games have you watched so far? Now, if the answer is like 2, that's cool because it means you're just watching your favorite team, and that even that's pretty awesome. As more and more teams don't play valuable quarterbacks or anybody out there in the NFL. I see 2 from Brandon Lewis. I get that. It's fair. 3 from Evan Hinders. Let's see. Artist says they have 2 backup QBs. Yes. Bob Smith says 1. King Seahawk, the leader so far. He says 5 to 7. RJ says 3. JG says 2. I am uncomfortable revealing my number because it shows I have no life. JJ Ruggles says 7. Marcus says 5. Christopher Slaughter says 4. Shanav's got 4. Tristan Bravo's got 4. JG's got 2. RJ's got 3. Zach Kane's got all of them. Are we assuming we're allowed to count the condensed versions? And yeah, it's a lot of them. Lines Talk with Micro Mike says 4. Chualor says 10. Billy Walden's got 7 to 8. Keep your answers coming. And speaking of answers, I'm going to give you mine in a little bit with our mailbag. 2 ways to get on the show here at Chat Sports. Number 1, use hashtag NFL. Or Super Chat. Like, let me double check the name because it flew off my screen there. Jack Bishop. Like Jack Bishop did a little bit earlier. Those are your 2 routes to getting on air here at Chat Sports. Either use hashtag NFL or Super Chat. After the mailbag, after our mock draft, and then after our other mailbag, we will be live exclusively on Rumble. So get over to rumble.com/NFL Daily and join us for NFL Daily After Hours. 1 trade candidate for each NFL team. Links in the comments section and in the description of today's show. But make sure you're over there for our exclusive live segment once we're done here on YouTube. You're watching NFL Daily. I am Tom Downey here with the mailbag. You know the drill by now, I assume. We answer any and all questions you have as it relates to the NFL. Our first question is a super chat from Jack Bishop. Thank you, Jack. Raiders should take a shot at Wynn. He knows the system and is young. Would boost the line amazingly. Trade a 3rd and Cleveland Ferrell. I love it for Vegas. You move on from Ferrell, save some money, take on obviously Isaiah Wynn's deal, but you're saving money by dumping Cleveland Ferrell. It's a rare, like kind of almost NBA style trade where the money makes a bit more sense there. I wonder if that's enough for New England. They got a 5th for Shaq Mason. I would assume they get more for Isaiah Wynn. That is more. So, Jack, I like that idea a lot for the Raiders. Plug him in at right tackle. It is a lot better than whatever weird combination they've been trying throughout the preseason. I think Wynn would be a great fit in Vegas. From RJ, who will be the best team in the AFC this year? So, quick note, we will have another batch of power rankings around this time next week after we get through the NFL roster cutdown time. I'll go quickly with each division. AFC, it's the Bills in the AFC East, and I think that's my answer because they get to benefit by playing lesser competition. The AFC North, Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, Browns, all really good. AFC West, Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos, Chargers, all even better than what we just mentioned overall as a unit. AFC South, Colts, Texans, Jags, and the Titans are not that great. Titans, Colts could be playoff teams, but the Bills are above them. Dolphins, Jets, Patriots might not make the playoffs. So I think Buffalo is my answer for the AFC. From Shanav, our Broncos fan, should Denver trade for Isaiah Wynn? They got to figure out the money. Cap a little bit tight, but just extend Russell Wilson, and you're fine there on that standpoint there. Trading for Isaiah Wynn. Billy Turner, who I like, has kind of been banged up a lot. There's been some buzz of maybe you don't play him at tackle, which is weird. If you are not sold on Billy Turner, absolutely trade for Isaiah Wynn and plug him in day one at right tackle. I don't think Denver would do it because they're already so light on draft capital, but I love the all-in idea behind it. From Slappy Sammy, where will Ndamukong Suh sign? It's a great question, and I don't know. Allegedly, Suh wants around $9 million. He is not going to get that on the open market, I can pretty much promise you. Maybe half of that makes a bit more sense there. Minnesota Vikings, I think, make a lot of sense. They've been linked so heavily to Suh, but they are not offering him that $9 million price tag. The Raiders need some defensive line help there. Cleveland Browns, Denver Broncos, maybe as a dark horse fit there. I think Cincinnati, by the way, should have been a lot more aggressive. They were aggressive, but they should have gone all in aggressive in free agency because they're not paying Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase anything from that standpoint. So those are 5 teams I would at least consider as good destinations. So sound off for me. Where do you think Ndamukong Suh will end up signing? I'm going to make this question the pinned comment on today's video. So if an ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and make your predictions where Ndamukong Suh will sign. Latuya 67, one move the Raiders need to make. Offensive line, right tackle. Like, can you just sign Eric Fisher, plug him in there? They clearly, maybe not clear, but I guess they don't view Alex Leatherwood as a right tackle, which is, okay, new regime. And they're trying everything on the roster right now at that right tackle spot. I think it's time to try something else that's not on the roster at that spot. Evan Hinders, Dolphins trade Mike Gesicki to Minnesota for a second-round pick. Dolphins say yes in a heartbeat. Minnesota says no. That's a second-round pick, I think, is way too much to pay Mike Gesicki $10 million. I think you'd be lucky to get him for, I think even an early day 3 pick would be a lot to give up for Mike Gesicki because there is zero flexibility with that contract. If you had done this before the franchise tag deadline, maybe it would have made more sense because you could extend Gesicki. Minnesota's got Irv Smith. They want someone who can do some inline stuff too. I think Irv's a better fit there. I like Gesicki, don't get me wrong. I think a second's way too much though. NFL Daily is also available on Rumble. We have free and uncensored content. For example, NFL Daily After Hours, following our live shows on YouTube. A bonus exclusively live segment over there. We have the sports. They've got other stuff for news and politics, if you're brave enough, tech, business. As we try to grow to platforms you guys use, help us out. Give us a follow for free at rumble.com/NFL Daily. EPS-CX. Who's going to win the Tank Bowl? Oh, it's a fun question there. I think the Falcons are in that mix. I think the Jets don't want to be, but I think they might be. The Lions are in there. I think the Texans are still in there. Seattle's quarterback moves have put them as one of the front runners, but the rest of their roster is a little bit better when it's all said and done. The betting favorite right now, for whatever it's worth, by a decent-ish margin, is the Houston Texans. Tristan Bravo, Marcus Mariota looked really good. How do you feel about him? I would mention this. I would not read too far in to how starters look in the preseason versus backups. We know Mariota's a pretty good scheme fit. We know he can make some plays with his legs. We've also seen his limitations in Tennessee. I think he can be a stopgap option for you. There's going to be nothing he does in the preseason, games that don't matter, that is going to change my mind. Now, if we get to week 3 or 4 and he's balling out, okay, different conversation. Maybe that would make me feel better about that. But Desmond Ridder's look just as good, if not better. And they all look like Tom Brady compared to Felipe Franks in the end. Frank's out here catching strays for absolutely no reason, but we watched that game, right? It was a disaster for him. In the meantime, subscribe to Chat Sports today for the best NFL coverage. I watch all those preseason games, so you guys don't have to. We keep you covered with everything going on around the NFL. Hit that big red button right now. From Vince, which team will be the surprising team of 2022? Lions, Giants, Jags, Panthers? I think those are 4 decent options, frankly. I want it to be Carolina. I think it would be for the pure comedy factor of Browns dump Baker Mayfield. And then he's great in Carolina, which is probably asking for a little bit too much on that standpoint there. I think the Jags are a year away. I think the Lions don't quite have the quarterback, though. So I want to go with Carolina in the short term, but AFC South and NFC East are kind of gettable. Maybe Philly takes a major step forward and the Eagles emerge from like low-end playoff teams like, oh, they're a legit contender. We'll find out. Brandy Lewis, will Trey Lance throw more or less than 10 interceptions? I think I'd go with the over because the offense is going to be very different. Trey Lance, the best part of his game is his arm strength and his athletic ability. When you have those two, you do what the Niners and Jimmy G did not do last year. Actually take vertical shots, push the ball downfield. That will lead to more explosive plays, more big plays, long touchdowns. Also lead to some more interceptions. And that's okay because you're making big plays in the end. He will not have the same interceptions as Jimmy G. He'll probably have more. He'll probably have more big plays for you, though, on top of that. From Eldridge James. Is that Ed James' cousin? Find out. Why have the Steelers signed an offensive tackle like Eric Fisher? They've swapped out some of the backup offense. I guess they signed Adrian Ely, but that doesn't move the needle at all. They're going to give the job to Dan Moore. Chuck Scorefor is your right tackle, and they're going to hope that the additions of, James Daniels, Mason Cole, plus the Dotson Green battle at left guard fixes things. And I'm just not sure they're going to in the end. Now, speaking of free agents and your favorite teams, sound off in the comments section. Name a free agent who you want your favorite team to go out and sign. Let me know in the comments section. From King Seahawk, if the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson get a deal done, what do you think the contract details will be? All of it? I think Lamar wants the Deshaun Watson deal. And I don't know if the Ravens are going to say, yes, we'll do that. I think at minimum, though, it's the Kyler Murray deal. You're somewhere in that range. Low-end Kyler Murray, high-end just above Deshaun Watson. That is the market for quarterbacks. And to be clear, Lamar Jackson in his NFL career has done more than both Deshaun Watson and Kyler Murray. All three guys are franchise QBs. The market only goes up, and Lamar, I think, wants a lot of money. A big-time super chat from Jack Bishop here. Jack, if you're watching on live here, we'll do some shots for you once this is all wrapped up. Do you think the Raiders would be a Super Bowl contender if they traded for Wynn, went and signed Sue for around $7 million? I don't think it's a smart move, but Perryman extension linebacker is replaceable. I feel better about that team if you add Isaiah Wynn and you add Ndamukong Suh. And I would feel a lot better about them if they were in the NFC. Like if the Raiders were in the NFC East, which of course never going to happen, but I think we would view them as one of, if not the favorites in the NFC. But instead of getting, the Eagles and the Commanders, the Giants, 2 times a year, they get the Chargers, Chiefs, and Broncos. And all 4 of those teams are really good. So I think in the AFC, and this is how I'll approach it all year, if you make the playoffs, you're going to have a chance. Just like we saw last year. Outside of the last 2 teams in, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, if you made the postseason, you had a real shot. I mean, the Raiders were a play away from beating Cincinnati, who was a play away from winning the whole Super Bowl. So I think there's a lot more parity this year. You add those 2 things, I'd probably put them in the postseason, and that would give them a very real chance. I think the Carr, Adams, Renfro offense is going to be dynamic. I worry about the trench play. Adding those 2 guys really helps solidify that quite a bit. From Labor, is OBJ to the Ravens the perfect fit? I don't know about perfect fit, but it's a fun one, right? Now, remember, Odell Beckham is probably not going to be cleared until October, November, sometime in that range in terms of that ACL tear that he suffered. So when we get to that time frame, I think he's going to wait to sign, and there will be teams, just like last year, that have real interest. Could be LA. It could be a situation involving, maybe the Ravens. Maybe there's a team with a major wide receiver injury. They signed Odell Beckham to help them make that playoff push. Green Bay should have done it last year. That's a good name, I think the Ravens included, to keep an eye out for. So make your predictions. Who will end up signing Odell Beckham Jr.? Make your predictions for me right now in the comments section. From Zach Kane, do you think the NFC, AFC will split one day and make a third conference? No. It's third. 3 does not work for a Super Bowl. Like, you get the third, there's just no way. That's not a pathway anyone would pursue. So NFC is the way it's going to stay forever. Add a team? Maybe. Third conference? No. All right, we'll get some shots here for myself in honor of Jack Bishop's Super Chats, if someone can handle that out there for me. Who will win the Super Bowl this year in the meantime? Let me know in the comment section. Get those predictions in for me. I see Patriots or Bills. No, that might have been about OBJ. We'll let King Seahawk adjust there. Who will win the Super Bowl? MD Terp says the Buffalo Bills. There you go. Aldo says the Dolphins. Okay. Brandy says the Packers. Cyrus says the Bears. I see Arizona versus Chiefs from RJ. Chargers from Evan Henders. Bills from Junior Estrada. Buffalo, by the way, is the betting favorite. And I get that. That's the easier path in the AFC to the postseason. Maybe the easiest path in the AFC to the postseason. They got the quarterback. They got a great defense. Obvious favorite for me. Lions from Lions Talk with Micro Mike. Come on, Mike. Even you don't believe that one. Las Vegas versus Dallas. That'd be a blast for us here at Chat Sports. Mitch and I would kill each other by the end. Packers, Bucks, Raiders, Bengals, Packers, Raiders versus Dallas, Saints, Raiders, Packers, Bills. Someone says not Dallas. Thank you, Mitch. Okay, Jack's going to take one too. Look who's back, Jack. I found Mitch. Cheers. Bottoms up, Jack. Thanks, Mitch. Jack, I see your other Super Chat. Q&A too. We'll take care of you, my friend. Thank you very much, Jack. You're the MVP so far today. Everyone be more like Jack. And you know what? Spam Jack in the comments section. And we also have producer Jack, by the way. That's Jack Lotteray. And I know I call you the cool Jack since you just hired a new one. I think for today, though, Jack Bishop is the cool Jack.
I'll allow it.
The cooler Jack. Maybe the coolest Jack.
For today.
We can call Jack Original Jack or OJ.
Ah, we could call you OJ. Original Jack.
He's MVP for the day.
Look all the Jacks coming in from RJ and Billy Walden and Zach Kane. Thank you guys so much. We'll get back on track with the show. It's not what you guys tend to care about more than us having fun. Join us for NFL Daily After Hours following my upcoming 2023 NFL Mock Draft and the second mailbag with Jack Bishops, a.k.a. the coolest Jacks. Super Chat to lead off that mailbag. Get over to Rumble. Links in the comments section and the description. One trade candidate for each NFL team. The NFL Draft is all about finding the right person for your team. And that's what LinkedIn Talent Solutions helps you do for your small business. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/NFL Daily. Today's show, a fresh 2023 NFL Mock Draft. One note before you all complain in the comments section. The order is based on the projected win total and then Super Bowl odds to even things out in terms of like the tiebreakers. So do not yell at me for where your team is drafting. With that in mind, number 1, last time I went quarterback, let's mix it up. Will Anderson, edge rusher out of Alabama. He goes number 1, I think is the best player in this year's class. The issue is quarterbacks always get pushed up. I've got Bryce Young, Alabama quarterback, at number 2 overall. We will talk about CJ Stroud in a second. But for both Houston and Atlanta, they have invested recent third-round picks in quarterbacks. Davis Mills for Houston, who I thought flashed pretty good last year, and Desmond Ridder, who I think has looked good in the preseason, but we don't know what he's going to be in the actual NFL. So in the scenario presented by the NFL betting odds here, who is more likely to take a QB in the top 2? T for the Texans or F for the Falcons? Sound off for me in the comment section. Seattle's at number 3, and I think we can all agree that if they're taking a top 3 pick, they are going with a quarterback, if not putting up to number 1 to secure their guy here. CJ Stroud is the pick here. Young versus Stroud, going to be a classic back and forth. I like Stroud's physical attributes a lot. I like the way Bryce Young handles pressure, his off-platform stuff as well. But Young is tiny and skinny. It's a bit of a red flag for me. Stroud's a bit better. I also think Stroud's benefited more from the supporting cast at Ohio State. I'm going to go back and forth with this the entire time. BY for Bryce Young, CJ for CJ Stroud. Pick a quarterback for me in the comment section. You got to take one. Who would it be? Let me know right now. Number 4, Jalen Carter to the Jets, the Georgia defensive lineman, who I think is not that far behind Will Anderson. For me, it's Anderson 1, Carter 2. Imagine Quinn Williams and Jalen Carter on the interior. That's some DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead stuff, just like the Niners did, who are now run heavily by Jets coaching staffs. Number 5, Will Levis to the Lions. He puts mayo in his coffee. He eats the banana with the peel on, and that's very troubling for me as a prospect. I'm dead serious. That's bad decision making. Levis has the arm, has the athletic ability. This spot is based on a significant jump that some in the NFL, not sure I'm included there, think he's going to take. All right, Jackson Smith-Njigba, number 6 here. Justin Fields doesn't have much wide receiver talent. Take a flawless route runner. Smith-Njigba and Mooney. It's an awesome 1-2 punch. Carolina, thought about QB here, but I don't know. I know the Matt Corral fans would be mad at me if I put a QB here. Nolan Smith, though, another Georgia player. Awesome edge rusher, very talented. I think he's on track towards being a top 15 pick. Let's get Trevor Lawrence some more help here, by the way, at number 8. That's Michael Mayer, the tight end out of Notre Dame, who I am a big-time fan of. I think he offers some very real talent, some very real ability as an all-around player. Not the same athlete as like an Eric Gilbert, more on him in a little bit, but Michael Mayer does offer you this. A reliable option who would be a great fit for Trevor Lawrence. He's going to catch a lot more passes than I promise you Evan Ingram will, because Ingram doesn't have good hands at all. Today's show is made possible by LinkedIn Talent Solutions. If you are hiring for a job, you know what? You should be using LinkedIn. As you gear up for fall, you need the right people on your team to help your small business fire on all cylinders. LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then add your job in the purple hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you want to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number 1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/NFL daily. That's linkedin.com/NFL daily to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And to make your life even easier, that link, linkedin.com/NFL daily, right there, bottom of your screen. It's in the comments section and in the description of today's show. Number 9, it's Tyler Van Dyke. I saw, yeah, you know what I did. Tyler Van Dyke, number 9, the Miami Hurricanes QB. I think I'm a bit higher on him than most. Again, I am projecting a pretty good jump here, but I saw a lot of nice things down the stretch last year, and Daniel Jones ain't it. Keely Ringo, number 10, another Georgia player. That makes sense, right? He goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and oh, by the way, I believe they could use a number 1 corner. I think Ringo can be that guy for you long term. I don't love number 11. I don't love number 9 either, but the Commanders, they don't have a franchise QB. I don't think it's Sam Howell. He's a 5th round. That's backup. That's a backup 9 times out of 10. Tanner McKee's drawn a lot of praise from those around the NFL for his size, his arm strength, some of the processing stuff he can do. I don't love him that much, but I know that this is a good quarterback class, and there will be teams who need them. It's a lot better than last year's class, and they almost always, last year was the exception, they get pushed up higher because of the positional value. So I had 4 QBs go in my top 10, 5 in my top 11, and teaser, there's one more coming. How many QBs do you think go in the top 10? Way too early predictions right now for me in the comments section. Paris Johnson, number 12, the Patriots. I don't really know what they're doing on the offensive line. Paris Johnson's moving from guard to tackle. It's an upside projection. Early thoughts, by the way, on the offensive line class? It's not that great, Jim. Number 13, Brian Breezy, the Clemson defensive tackle. Houston lacks that really dynamic 3 technique. And if, I'm going to call him double B all year. If Brian Breezy makes a big-time step forward, the raw talent is there. It just hasn't happened quite yet, but the upside is there. Let's go to Myles Murphy now, the edge rusher out of Clemson. I'm very intrigued by him, by the way. I think he's got a lot of upside and talent from that perspective in terms of, much like Brian Breezy, taking a big-time step forward and showing what he's able to do. Finally, Trenton Simpson, the linebacker from Clemson. So we'll go 3 for 3 there with Clemson players. Not what I meant to do, but hey, here we are. I like what he brings as a kind of almost a little bit like Isaiah Simmons. Not the same. I know it's the same school, so hey, I get that as far as I'm concerned. But the Raiders, I don't love the tackles with Breezy off the board for now. You can get a fatter run stopper later on. Simpson, though, he's got talent. We went Clemson on accident there, just how it turned out. So with that in mind, shout out your favorite college team for me. College football is finally back. If you have a fall wedding like I do this year, that sucks. They are not your friends. But shout out your favorite team for me in the comments section. Now, this is where the Dolphins would be, but they lost their first-round pick, so get it out of here. Christian Gonzalez is next up to the Cardinals. Some late buzz of late from him from guys like Dane Brugler. He's got the size, athletic ability. I trust Dane's eyes a lot in the way too early mock drafts. Put him in there at 16. Next up is another offensive lineman, Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern. Going to have the same kind of Isaiah Simmons or Rashawn Slater conversation of undersized guy, can play tackle or guard. Either way, the Titans need offensive line help, and I think he might be a better player, but maybe not better prospect if Paris Johnson takes a big step forward because of the upside and the measurables and all that good stuff. Isaiah Foskey next up here, the edge from Notre Dame. Minnesota, don't know if Daniil Hunter is going to be around next year. If so, edge vaults to one of their biggest needs. I like him quite a bit. This is a very promising, early on at least, edge rushing group. Number 19, Bijan Robinson out of Texas. In this scenario, Philadelphia has the number 19 overall pick. Number 14 came from New Orleans. So you're probably not going to take a quarterback. Maybe you just go all in on that ground game with Hurts. And Robinson, I don't like going backs early. He's the exception. As long as he plays like he did last year, he will have a first-round grade from me. And that's me saying that. Now, when it comes to NFL, NBA, and college football as well, we've got you guys covered with all the information you could ever want. Hit that big red button and subscribe right now for free multiple times per day videos right here at Chat Sports. Kayshon Boutte, or Booty, as I really, really want to call him, but Boutte also sounds awesome. I think the difference between him and Jackson Smith-Njigba is basically non-existent, but a lot of teams in between the Bears and Colts did need a receiver. So Boutte falls, even though it could easily be a top 10 pick. I think he's going to have a big year as long as the quarterback play isn't terrible for LSU this year. How about Eric Gilbert next up here? The tight end out of Georgia. Better athletic profile than Michael Mayer, but needs a step forward in terms of actual play and production. We'll see how Georgia uses him. They have so many good tight ends. It's kind of crazy. They're on the verge of becoming tight end quickly here. Gilbert with Dalton Schultz as a free agent, and let's be honest, the 4th-round pick and Jake Ferguson being an unknown, Gilbert and on that offense would be a dynamic addition that they haven't really had at tight end in a very long time. Tyree Wilson to the Bengals, number 22, the edge from Texas Tech, who I know has a lot of fans from the, I forget the name of the people who do the advanced combine scouting. They had Wilson graded super, super high. A lot of good production there. You could go with the Kansas State edge rusher guy here, but Wilson was productive for Texas Tech. Love the size, measurables, the flashes on tape. Like I said, edge class, really good. Jordan Addison out of USC to the Ravens here. Imagine Addison and Bateman together for the Baltimore Ravens. I think that's a way more fun duo than Addison and Evan Duvernay? Yeah, or not, Bateman and Duvernay? Get some more help there for Lamar Jackson. Addison was a quarterback's best friend. Just ask Kenny Pickett. Who is your favorite 2023 NFL draft prospect? No wrong answers here. Just let me know who your favorite draft prospect is. Here's the Miami Dolphins pick via San Francisco. They lost their original one. This is Broderick Jones. This is all projection from me, so I will take full blame if I'm wrong. I saw some flashes last year for Georgia. It's a bad offensive line class. I'll guess and gamble on the upside here. Eli Ricks, next up from Alabama, seems to, maybe I'm just higher on him than most, but I saw flashes at LSU. Bama brought him as a transfer. That tends to go pretty well. And I know Seattle never goes cornerback early. Maybe next year it'll change. Probably not. Number 26, Noel Sewell here to the Los Angeles Chargers, which I'm very intrigued by to see how things go and all fit together. The Chargers looking to potentially replace Kenneth Murray. He's not been very good. I know Brandon Staley doesn't value off-ball linebackers. I think Sewell would be a fun fit, though. Quentin Johnston, next up, number 27 to the Detroit Lions. This pick via the Los Angeles Rams. Johnson's been one of my guys. I see a little bit of mini Dez Bryant in him. Put him on the outside, pair him with Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown. You drafted a quarterback, you got a lot of talent now on that Lions offense. Another one of kind of my guys, Chiefs take defensive lineman Gervon Dexter out of Florida. I get Javon Kinlaw vibes. Hopefully a little bit better than some of the results we've seen from Javon Kinlaw, at least early on in his NFL career. Chiefs adding more defensive help, I'm down with. Andre Carter II, yes, an actual Army prospect, top 50 guy. Look at his production last year. For Army, I will remind you, he played awesome last year, and I think that will continue in 2022. I did it. I put Anthony Richardson in here, and I know that he's played like 65 snaps or something ridiculous, and the Bucs just took a Florida quarterback. The talent is there. The upside for Richardson is incredible. Big arm, athletic ability. It's all an unknown. So when we get to the actual draft, this will probably be either a good 20 spots too low, or even he's not even in the draft because he wasn't close to being ready. It is. I want to mention him because he's got the talent, but Richardson is not there yet. We will see how things go this year. Some major boom or bust as it relates to this year's draft class. Another one of my favorite prospects, Antonio Johnson. Kind of a safety, nickel, linebacker, kind of overhang guy, the modern-day safety that I love so much. I love Antonio Johnson. I'm super high on him. Bills got some replacing to do at safety down the road. They got great talent. He won the Super Bowl, hypothetically, in this scenario, after all. I like Johnson fit in Buffalo quite a bit. Now, I definitely left someone out because normally it's 32 picks. Thanks, Miami and Tom Brady and all those, the fine and the discipline and losing the draft pick there. So who did I leave out? Drop a name or names for me in the comment section. Some other top defensive guys I want to mention. I think Clark Phillips from Utah and Cam Smith from South Carolina. Good corner prospects. Both Bama safeties, Brian Branch and Jordan Battle, are pretty damn good. Will McDonald IV out of Iowa State, a promising edge prospect. And he goes like a Sika Ika from Baylor, the defensive tackle, but also Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State. Offensively, transfer Osiris Torrance, the guard, might be the number one guard this year. That team is not the team. The coaching staff now in Florida has done a great job dating back to their time with the Raging Cajuns of developing offensive linemen. Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm a big fan of. I'm calling for a breakout year. Andrew Voorhees is old, but proven and reliable on the offensive line. Two receivers. How about Jermaine Burton, who went from Georgia to Bama this year as a transfer, and then Josh Downs for North Carolina as well. Shout out time now who I left off. RJ, I have no clue who you left off. It's fair. I know a lot of people are not getting into the nitty-gritty of the draft yet, and that's quite okay. That's why you're subscribed. That's why you watch us, because we do it for you so you guys don't have to. Get your votes in. King says Addison was too low. I kind of agree. The receivers in general went lower than I thought, but I'm trying to juggle everything, and I would not be surprised if he went higher than that. He was the third receiver taken, but came with 23. Probably is too low, but you do with what you can. Evan says Spencer Rattler, which I find interesting from that standpoint there. Who knows how good he'll be? He's got the talent. I don't know if the leadership traits are there, but we got to wait and see. Let's see. I got the more Trey Lance conversation. Keep the comments coming. Who did I leave out of my mock draft? After this final mailbag, we have an exclusive live segment on Rumble. It's NFL Daily After Hours. Go check us out, rumble.com/NFL Daily. Links in the live chat. We're live right now on Rumble, so get over there if you haven't already, because after the mailbag, exclusive live segment. Tristan said Eli Ricks. I had him in there, but lower. Epps says Bijan Robinson, so lower. That's fine there in the end. Remember, folks, 2 ways to get your question on the show. Either use hashtag NFL or you can super chat and get on the show, like Jack Bishop is balling right now. I will do another shot for you, Jack, if someone out there can just grab me a shot glass. I don't know, did Mitch leave already? Is he still here? Can't tell. Jack Bishop says, my boy Mitch, I got some news. I'm playing Gridiron in a few weeks. I'm going to do it over the summer while it's footy off season. I'm 6'1", 95 kg. What position should I play? I can sling a ball. Jack, I'm going to screenshot this, and I don't know if Mitch is here or not, so I will screenshot it. And there's no alcohol here, so thank you. I'll send this over to Mitch so he knows. He isn't in the studio right now, so I don't know where he went, but I'll have him DM you or whatever. Jack also mentioned for the mock draft, Raiders take Sika Ika. That's the defense tackle, big nose tackle, run stopper. I think he's probably more of a top 50 guy right now than he's like a top 20 guy. But here comes a shot for you, by the way. So I don't love him top half of round 1, at least for now. Maybe he shows me he can be Vita Vea 2.0, but to get him in round 2, yeah, and it's a great idea. Or even back end of round 1, I think could be a really great pick based on the way too early mock draft stuff, blah, blah, blah. Get your questions in, hashtag NFL or super chat. Jack, the coolest Jack, cheers to you, my friend. I can barely tell it's dark liquor. Oh, that's better. Look, kind of blurs out a little bit when it's in front of my face. Bottoms up, Jack. Let's dive into our mailbag. You're watching NFL Daily. I am Tom Downey, and you know the drill by now, right? It's a mailbag. We answer all of your questions as they come in live here on Chat Sports. Jack Bishop, the coolest Jack, with a super chat. Do you think Jeffrey Okudah gets traded? I've seen he hasn't been performing up to the standard. I love him with the Lions. It's a 3rd, Mullins, and a 6th. I think you mean Trayvon Mullen, not Nick Mullins, since Nick Mullins got traded. Mullen would make a lot more sense there. It's a good offer if the Lions are out on Okudah. Whenever I get asked about him, here's the route I go, or the issue I have. If the Lions are giving up on their third overall pick, less than 3 years in, barely 2 years in, that's a huge red flag. Those guys almost never pan out. It means they're busts. Team knows there's something wrong. So if you could get him for a cheapish package, do you want him? And if he's not available for a cheapish package, do you want to overpay for him? It hasn't been good so far. That's the real problem you run into. I do think Trayvon Mullen, a 3rd and a 6th is pretty good. I've heard some positive things out of Lions camp this year for Okudah. It's a make-or-break year for him. I think that's one of those where all parties involved go, let me just stay with what I got because the downside is pretty concerning. Tyson Stanger, however you pronounce it, what places do you see Young and Stroud going next year? I mean, any team that is drafting early needs a quarterback should be in the conference. So that could be Seattle, could be Houston, could be Atlanta, could be potentially both New Yorks if the Jets are really, really bad, which I don't think they'll be, but just want to mention that one. Carolina could bottom out. Philadelphia has draft assets to go get a quarterback if Jalen Hurts is not the guy. The Commanders still. There are a lot of teams they could go to. Check in 2 or 3 months. We'll know by then. From Empire One, is that a pun or not? They did nothing wrong, however. I haven't seen the Falcons linked to Jimmy G. Should they be? No. I don't really see why Atlanta would want Garoppolo. They have a veteran stopgap for a team that, let's be honest, isn't going to make a playoff run. Like, they could win a couple of games, could be around 500, sure, but who here thinks they're a playoff caliber roster? I don't think anyone objectively does. Does Jimmy G elevate your roster in that fashion? I don't think so. So I don't see the benefit of adding Jimmy Garoppolo to the current Falcons team. Honestly, I'd rather give the reins to Ritter if it comes to it. So when it comes to Garoppolo, make your predictions. Who will trade or sign him in the event he gets cut? Let me know right now in the comment section. This is the pinned comment on today's show. So if an ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. RJ, look at another Jimmy G question. If he gets cut, should he play for the Seahawks, Texans, or the Browns? Good question. I think Seattle crossed them off. I think Seattle's tanking, right? They got to be. Locke and Smith, come on. So I'm going to cross off Seattle, I guess. Houston, I kind of want them to give the reins to Davis Mills, see what he can do. Beyond that, I think I'm going to go with Cleveland of the three. Just because short term, he could really carry you over from that standpoint. Choppy71, does your win total go up since Baker is the QB? Oh, I should have yelled it. My bad. I think it helps. I think Baker's better than Darnold. I'm still not convinced that team is good enough, but if Baker can play like he did in 2020, the back half of 2020, that was borderline top 10 quarterback play. If McCaffrey's healthy, if the offensive line isn't terrible, you can talk yourself into Carolina at least being the second best team in the NFC South, and that will put them in the playoff race. From the RC Plane Builder, overall thoughts on Ritter and Mariota. Saw a lot of good stuff out of out of Ritter in that preseason game. There were some just anticipatory throws that I was really impressed by. There's one he just throws it into a window this big over the shoulder of the defender. It was an awesome throw. I like what I saw from Ritter. I've seen good things from Mariota. Remember, it is the preseason. Don't read too much into it after all. Now, if you are a real one at Chat Sports, meaning you watch our videos, you love what we do, time for you to rep some Real One Chat Sports gear. Order your t-shirt today at chatsports.com/real1. Different colors. You can rep purple if you're a Vikings fan. That way you can kind of match to your favorite team's color. Get yours today at chatsports.com/real1. The link to those t-shirts, tons of different styles and variety, by the way, in the comments section and in the description. Be a real one by getting your t-shirt today. From Michael, if Seattle, super chat, by the way, thank you, Michael. If Seattle drafts in the back half of the top 10, should they trade up for Stroud or Young or draft Lewis/Van Dyke? It's tough to know how those guys fare this year. Based on currently, I would try to go get Stroud or Young, but that's very expensive to go get one of them. So it gets a little bit complicated, but you have the extra first-round pick. I would probably try to go get one of those Stroud or Young guys based on where they currently sit, but we'll know more in depth in the coming weeks and months as college football moves on. I'd say trade up. In my mock drafts, I'm not going to project trades, though. For now, it gets way too complicated. JG, Cowboys trade for Isaiah Wynn, then bring in Jason Schroeder. Why is he not signed yet? All right, first up on Isaiah Wynn. I don't know. People are trade him for a 6th-rounder. I'm yeah, let's ride. I don't know why the Patriots would do that, though. I know money and injuries are a problem. He's a starter for you somewhere on your offensive line. I think JT Schroeder is also a starter for a lot of different teams on the offensive line. The reports have been, there's the medical stuff. His knees are banged up. I believe that the real answer is that Jay Schroeder is the NFL president for the players, NFLPA president for the players. And I don't think NFL teams like that. I think that is a factor in why he remains unsigned. Now, we're going to see a lot of roster moves coming in the coming days. Roster cuts less than just a couple days away, frankly. NFL Week 1, almost here finally. And we've got you covered with all the NFL coverage you could ever want. If you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe. From War Same Eagle, which is maybe a War Eagle kind of joke. Eagle, however you pronounce it. Will the Rams go back-to-back and win back-to-back? I don't think so. They're going to be a great team, don't get me wrong, but I don't think we can underemphasize how difficult it is to win back-to-back titles. They're going to have a chance, but I'll make note of this too. Without the Logan Wilson PI, I don't know if that, which I thought was a bad call, they don't win that game. So there needs to be some luck. And the amount of luck required to win back-to-back years is kind of tricky as far as I'm concerned. From Alzo, any takers for Kenny Golladay? I don't think so. That's kind of the situation I think that we're at. The contract's rough. You give him a year and see if you can get any better from that standpoint. Tighten up 75. The Eagles should trade Jalen Reagor for Kareem Hunt. I mean, I love that trade for Philadelphia. I don't know why the Browns would do it, though. That's weird to me. I don't think no one wants Jalen Reagor. I'm sorry. Reagor sucks. Now, Dearness Johnson for Reagor could make some more sense for Philadelphia, and for the Browns, I should say, but I don't think anyone wants Reagor. So with that in mind, let's have some fun. Pick a player. JR for Jalen Reagor or KH for Kareem Hunt. You have to pick one of them. Contract, and we'll throw in off the field as well. Pick one, JR or KH. Junior Estrada. Should the Pats trade Isaiah Wynn to the Buccaneers for a 4th-round pick next year? The Bucs have been hit hard by offensive line injuries. So if I were the Bucs, yes, I would be calling. But if I'm New England, I would not trade away Isaiah Wynn. He is a starter for you. I know he's expensive injury problems, and Bill loves to trade guys early. I don't get it if they trade him away, to be honest. From Vince, will the Browns make the playoffs? I don't think so. I don't trust Brissett. They will be in the mix, don't get me wrong. And if they were in the NFC, I'd be all aboard it. But I have a difficult time seeing them treading water long enough for Deshaun to get back and then make that deep run. I think the Browns come up just shy. Had they had Deshaun for all 17 games? Different conversation. Out 11? Don't know about that one. Zach Kane, OBJ to Carolina. I don't think so. Let me put it this way. If Carolina, first off, does OBJ want to go back with Baker? I kind of don't think so. I think I know he said nice things publicly. I don't know if I believe that. He'd be an upgrade over Terrace Marshall short term, who's been nicked up a lot lately. I think no, unless, look, if there's an injury to Carolina and they're in the mix, could change. Lots of could change. For now, I say no. From Tyron Jenkins, Titans need to go trade for Tevin Jenkins. Agree. What's Tevin's dad's name, by the way? Interesting. Sure, why not? You could play him at left guard or right tackle or right guard. You got concerns, injuries, talent issues. Nate Davis healthy, it's probably not right guard, but I don't trust the Titans' offensive line. Seems like Jenkins is getting some more praise for his play at guard for the Bears, but I could still see him being on the block. So with that in mind, name a player who you think gets traded. Could be Tevin Jenkins, could be Robert Quinn. Drop a name or names in the comment section. Evan Hinders, Vikings draft Anthony Richardson to replace Kirk Cousins. Sure. Look, upside, yeah. I am not sold yet on Anthony Richardson. I need to see it more than the handful of snaps we've seen in the past. From Billy Walden, Dreams to take the first QB off the board. They have capital. They can make it happen. They might be bad enough anyway. I don't think that team is that far. I like the way they've built. I like Dan Campbell as head coach. They are not in a win right now mode for 2022. So if they're bad again, sure, that's fine. Go ahead and do it. Go get a franchise QB. If they think it's Stroud or Young, I ain't gonna be mad at it. I promise you. From Latuya 67, what do you think about Skip Bayless? 57 TDs for Dak. So, not really what he said. So, Yahoo Sports simmed an entire season on Madden, and in the sim season, Dak Prescott threw 57 touchdown passes. So, no, obviously not going to happen. You're going to be closer to half that number than 57. It's because Madden sucks, is what happened there. So, I know Skip probably talked about it. No, he's not getting almost 60 TDs. Hell, if he throws 37, he might win MVP. That's just 57 is ludicrous, and that's why Madden sucks. Suck it, EA. Sterling Alba, thoughts on Cam Jurgens, Eagles' second-round center. How good could Cam be? I think a really good starter. If you run the stretch zone blocking type of stuff where he thrives, I think there's some upside there. I didn't love him at Nebraska, but he's gotten better and stronger already in Philadelphia, so good steps forward there. I think he is your Kelsey replacement at some point, and he's not going to be Jason Kelsey, but I think he can be a very good starter for you. The Eagles have done a great job on the offensive line. I think Jurgens could be next. All right, what will the 49ers do with Jimmy Garoppolo? The pinned comments on today's live show, the poll results. 53% say trade, 19% say keep, and 27% say cut. What will the Niners do? T, K, or C? I will make note that we are one like away from 100 and $1 away from $50 in Super Chat. So, if we get, and we'll put 2 minutes on the clock here momentarily, Jack. If we get to 100 likes and we get to $50 in Super Chats, I'll do another shot here for you guys of the Jack Daniels. We are past the like number. We're not there on the Super Chat. So I'm putting $2 or 2 minutes on the clock right now. After this 2 minutes ends, we're going over to Rumble exclusively. NFL Daily After Hours, one trade candidate for each NFL team. Get over there. Oh, the sex bots come back in at the wrong time. You've got about a minute 40 here to get over to Rumble. That link's in the comments section right now. We are $1 away, and I'll do one more shot if we get it in the next 2 minutes. Otherwise, we're going to end the live stream here on YouTube and go over exclusively to Rumble. There is, by the way, as I look at my Twitter here, Jack, some news for you Cowboys fans, those of you who have been paying attention here. The Cowboys do not plan to put Michael Gallup on the PUP list. So they're not. I'm going to just one note here. One quick tweet here. As we've said many times on the Cowboys Report, that's their plan goal, off the PUP list. Maybe back by week 3. Minute to go. No Super Chats yet for the shot. If we don't do it, I'm not going to do the shot, guys. I'm sorry. We will be live on Rumble only. I've got one trade candidate for each NFL team on NFL Daily After Hours. And speaking of Rumble, by the way, what will the Niners do with Jimmy Garoppolo? There it is from Board Skyler. Beat the buzzer by 30 seconds. Thank you, Board. And hey, as long as the Supers come in, we won't go over to Rumble. So we'll reset the clock and go for another 2 minutes, somewhere in that range. Shout out Board Skyler. Potentially username checking out on that standpoint there. Board Skyler, a $2 Super Chat. And you know what? I think I'll do shots for all the Super Chats that come in. And we'll just reset the meter for 2 minutes each time they come in. All right, starting the new one. First up, Board Skyler, and just the $2 one. And then Gwendolyn D. Hill, RIP for Matt Corral's rookie season. You can type in RIP in the comments. That won't hurt. Bottoms up for Board. Wife, I come home from work. Wife, why do you smell like alcohol? Well, I did a bunch of shots on air today again. Gwendolyn Hill, $5. Bottoms up. Clock ticking down, a minute 30. If no more supers, we're going to go exclusively live on Rumble here. But we'll give you guys Super Chat time. Bottoms up. Whew, there we go. That's starting to burn a little bit there, I'm not going to lie. The pin poll right now, 54% trade, 20% keep, and 27% cut. Actually just dropped down to 19% keep there. I don't know if that's going to happen. And Cyrus, I see you watching. You're all good. I don't know if the trade's going to happen. It's tough timing. It really is. I just don't know if that's going to go down. You got less than a week. Maybe a QB gets hurt, but we'll see. All right, 30 seconds here. Then we're going to jump over to Rumble only for NFL Daily After Hours here. It's a one trade candidate from each NFL team. That's a trade away person, not a trade target. Candidate is someone you trade away. Target is someone you go acquire. We'll end this here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is our 2 minutes over. So we're going to end things here on YouTube. And we'll go exclusively over to Rumble, rumble.com/NFL Daily. Live link is in the chat. We'll see you guys on the other side.